Hello students, in this lecture of today we are going to study object oriented programming using Python. In the last lecture we have already seen basic constructs of object oriented programming and advantages of using object oriented programming paradigm over other programming paradigms. In this lecture we will study object oriented programming using Python, where we will understand the fundamental concepts of classes and objects using Python programming. This will also help the students to enhance their programming skills. At the end of the session, student will be able to develop simple applications using object oriented programming and Python. So let's start with object oriented programming using Python. So the one of the most advantageous point of object oriented programming is that it helps the programmer to reflect real world objects. So all the real world objects can be easily represented using object oriented programming. So whenever we are implementing applications of real world, we can identify different entities, things around or involved in that application. So for example, if we are developing an ERP system for a college which is going to be used by all the staff members of the college, the students of the college, and other office staff of the college. So, different entities involved in this application are students, teachers, and other employees of the college. Similarly, if we are implementing an application for a garage owner who wants to maintain details of all the four wheelers which he will be repairing in his garage. So entities involved in this will be the cars or other vehicles the owner will address to, the owner of the vehicles, the workers involved in doing servicing of the vehicles, and the administrator of the garage. Likewise, in every application there are some entities which are involved. Entities may be living or non-living, but while using object oriented programming we can directly reflect those entities in the programs by use of class. So, a class in object oriented programming is used to describe something in the world, such as occurrences, things, external entities, and so on. So we have seen such examples. So for different applications, different entities are involved. Each of these entities are represented as a class in object oriented programming. So let us move further with the concepts. So the next concept is an object. So an object is nothing but an instance of a class. So suppose that in our ERP application we want to represent students. So there are n number of students who will be accessing those ERP applications. Each of the students will have their name, address, telephone number, attendance details, and other details related to their academic performances. So, in object oriented programming, we will declare a class called as student, and all the students using the ERP system will be called as objects of the student class. So, what does a class does? A class provides a template or a blueprint specifying that what are the properties of the student and what operations does the student performs in our ERP system. So, for example, properties of a student can be name, address, telephone number, his attendance, his marks obtained, CGPA, SGPA, and other details. And behavior or functionalities of the student class can be like viewing attendance details, viewing the defaulter list, checking marks obtained in different exams, updating personal information. These all are functions which every student will perform in the ERP system. So, all these functions and variables are defined inside the class. When a new student is admitted to the college, a new object representing that student will be created. That student will have his own properties, that is, his own variables as defined in the class. Or a student will perform only those operations or functions as defined in the class student. So there is a relationship between a class and the object. In short, we can say a class provides a template or a blueprint that describes the structure and behavior of a set of similar objects. So, all objects of a particular class will behave in similar manner. Similarly, we can also have a class called as teacher, and objects will represent different teachers, means instances of that class teacher. We'll see further examples through which these concepts of objects and classes will be more clear to you students. Written in small letters, followed by the class name. The class name follows all rules of a variable name, followed by a colon. Inside this class, you have to declare all the variables and functions related to class person. All these variables and functions have to be written by using indentation rules. To define an object, we have to write a statement like this. An object, say P1, is equal to person. Here P1 is the name of the object and person is the name of the class. All the object names and class names are case sensitive. The next line over here represents an object P2 of the same class person. Whenever you declare an object of a class, different memory location is created to represent that object. That memory location will save values of all the variables defined in the class. So if a class person represents the person name, age, address, telephone number and other details, then a different memory location will be created for every object of the person class to represent these details respectively. So whenever a new object of person class is created, a new memory location will be allocated to represent name, address, telephone number of that new object. So every class has a set of attributes and a set of methods. Attributes are other names used for variables and properties. So variables, properties and attributes, all these means the same. Similarly, functions, behavior, operations, methods, all these means the same. Let us understand the concept of class and object in more detail. Consider an example of class car with attributes like model, color, company, price, mileage, etc. Whenever you will create a new object representing a car, memory location will be allocated to store model, color, price, mileage of that object. Whenever a new object is created for the same class, then new set of memory locations are assigned to represent these details for that new object. Now let's see how it works for methods. So suppose for a person class, methods defined are a person can walk, sleep, eat, read, write. So every object of the class person will be allowed to walk, sleep, read, write and perform other operations as defined in the class. Similarly, if a car class has functions like accelerate, transmission, apply brakes, show fuel availability, then every object of the car class will be able to perform these operations. These are some more examples of classes, the attributes of the class and the functions of the class. So a class account, for example, can have variables like type of the account, account number and available balance, and it can perform operations like withdraw, deposit, inquiry, etc. Similarly, a class for computer can have variables like brand of the computer, resolution of the computer, price of the computer, etc. And it can have functions like processing, displaying the information, printing the information, and so on. So similarly, every application which we are implementing can be represented by identifying its entities first. Those will be represented by classes and their objects. For every class you have to define set of attributes and functions for that particular class. Every object of that class will have the same set of attributes and perform the same functions as defined in the class. So, we can say that a class is a logical structure, whereas an object is a physical actuality, which means that memory location is assigned to an object when it is created. So, that's why it is said that an object is a physical actuality. Also, we can say that every object has a state which is given by the values of its attributes at a particular time. So, values of attributes of one object may differ from other objects. So, how to access these class members, that is attributes and functions? So, to access the attributes and functions of a class, we need to use a dot operator. The dot operator is used like this: name of the object dot name of the variable. For example, p1 dot name. To access methods, we have to use name of the object, the dot operator, and the function name. So p1 dot read, for example. So here is our first program using object oriented programming in Python. So here we have defined a class person. For simplicity, here only one attribute or variable is defined, that is name. Then here the class ends. Then we are creating objects. This is the first object. We are assigning name of the first object. So we are stating p1 dot name is equal to Rajesh. Then defining second object, assigning the value to the name of second object, and similarly for the third object. Then we can display their values by using the same dot operator, p1 dot name, p2 dot name, p3 dot name. So in the output we can see names of different objects displayed. So in this program we learn how to create a class, how to define objects, and how to access variables related to that class and its object. With this we come to end of today's session. In today's lecture we saw basics of classes and object and their syntactical details with Python. We have seen examples of classes and objects and also came to know how real world entities can be represented using concept of object oriented programming. Next lecture we will study how to use init, self and other constructs related to private members and class members of object oriented programming. Till then, thank you. For any queries, you can write your questions in the comments. I can come back to you with the answers. Thank you.